Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to GearFest 2018. Got a special guest with us here today. This is John Scofield. Great to see you.
Hi, great to be here.
Shake your hand.
Mitch, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. Thanks for making the trip out. We're glad to have you join us.
Good to be here.
Yeah, so you're doing a workshop with Peter Erskine.
Yes.
Inside the Groove.
Yeah.
So what are you guys going to be talking about?
Well, it's going to be Peter and I are old friends, have played together a lot over the years, and I guess we're going to talk about the groove and go inside it and play some music and talk about jazz and its related kinds of music and our experience playing and learning that music.
Right, right. So is groove something you can learn?
Well, we got to figure out what groove is, first of all. And I think it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Mm-hmm. And when you think of a groove, it's just right like a record. You think of an LP, right?
Right.
It's the groove, right? So you're staying in the groove. You're trying to get in the groove, and so you don't vary from the groove. So it's just, to me, it means all playing together and making a kind of music that feels good.
Right.
And that's a hard thing to really pinpoint what that is, but it's that little area that makes you want to dance and makes you feel good. And when I say dance, I mean just move to it, not necessarily get up and, something. So it has to feel good, and whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. Right. We talk a lot about soloing, of course, as instrumentalists and players, but the rhythm guitar aspect of that groove part of it, of course, is really critical, right?
The guitar originally, before all this shredding, it's a chordal accompaniment instrument.
Right.
And rhythm guitar, in both funk, the funk rhythm guitar that we know about and is still really applicable to music today, and the older style of rhythm guitar, which was 4/4, playing the chords,
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you got to have some groove.
Yeah, right. So what do you key off of as a player when you're developing a groove in a song?
Trying to have good rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And your original question is, can you learn it? Yes, we learn music, and the idea that it's just all natural talent is certainly not true in my case. I've worked on it, and I worked on the rhythm as much as anything, because in jazz music, I think the rhythm's essential. Mm-hmm. And the melodic part, of course, is really, really important. But if you don't have a nice rhythm and you can't do that, the poetry is lost,
Sure.
And so I didn't have good rhythm to start with. I would learn the notes, but then I would be, just trying to get it in place was hard. But I was a fan of music, so I heard this music on records that I really liked. Said, wait a minute, that's what those guys are doing. Mm-hmm. And so I just worked on learning it.
Did you work with a metronome, or did you play along with records? How did you do it?
Sure. I worked with a metronome. But you got to watch it there, because I love to just play along with a metronome and stuff, but I also want to develop my own inner groove so that I can be aware of really steady time myself. So, I played along with records some, probably more just trying to listening to records to get the feel of it, because I think if you're a drummer, playing along with records is really good. You can really play music with them, but when there's a solo going on or something, the guitar doesn't really fit in. So I didn't do it all that much. Mm-hmm. But now, with everybody on the internet, they can just find a play along thing,
Sure.
a backing track, and play forever, and that is fun. I do that too.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I read an interesting quote from you. You said that the process of elimination had a big part in defining your playing.
I said that?
You said that.
Well, I wonder what I meant. I think a lot of it is like the stuff I didn't want to play. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I sort of knew when I was playing, I don't like that that's coming out. So I would just not do it. And and then I would come up with stuff. Oh, that sounds pretty good when I'm practicing, and I would explore that area. And so that comes down to our basic musicianship, what we like,
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I just thought it was a very interesting kind of a quote.
Yeah. It's more like what I didn't want to play, and for me, it's been a slow learning curve. I didn't start out. I can't listen to my early stuff, especially, and part of that, is because there's no space in it. Now playing with space is really important, and that's playing with other people.
Right.
It's one thing to play solo guitar by yourself, which is impossibly hard, but to be part of a band and to really make your part work with the other guys, even when you're soloing. Just taking a solo doesn't mean you're up front doing your thing and the other people are mindless backing musicians. You got to make your solo fit in with the band, and it sounds to me so much better in music when it's a little bit more of a dialogue, even when the guys are playing just a background part.
Right.
Just to have that be there for a second, for 2 bars while you're not blithering on your solo,
Sure.
It seems to center everything and everybody starts to play together.
Right.
If you leave a little space, then you hear what they're doing, so the next entrance of your music will be really in sync with them, and they are able to take a break from hearing you so that they can center them. They're playing to fit with yours.
Right.
And there's all this subtle stuff that goes on, and that's what makes the magic for me. And the more I play, the more I enjoy that with other people.
Right. So how do you find musicians who are capable of doing that, or what do you look for in a musician that tells you they'll be able to do that?
I just, I just like the way somebody sounds. If they seem to have a sensibility in their playing, that I like, sounds like what I'm trying to do. You can tell.
Right.
And I'm definitely looking for people that want to play with other people and are not just virtuosos, but people that are into the same bag I'm into, same bags,
Right.
And that's when that, wow, we could maybe work together,
Right. Yeah, you work in so many different directions.
Yeah.
That finding the right people for those.
Yeah, somebody's just one side of what you do. But you're always, everybody makes an effort to make it work by going over to where the other person's at. So we're all doing that, but so you want to find people that are as, are somewhat, have a large scope, big vocabulary, so
Right.
that, your stuff can fit. But there's always some area that this guy you're playing with is way into that you don't know about or can't do or don't want to do. There's always that.
Right, sure. Yeah. Interesting too, you're such a prolific artist, but I was interested to see 3 of your recent records, Sko Mule, Country for Old Men, and Hudson. Those are all pretty different
They are,
kind of projects.
Yeah.
As you approach a project, each of those projects, do you have to totally shift your mindset, or is it one thing to you?
Basically, I like rock and jazz. If you want to really make it simple.
Right.
I started out like everybody else my age and with rock guitar as a young kid and folk music, just learning the guitar with that easy stuff. So I was into the music of the guitar. I wasn't a jazz guy. But then when I was about 16, I became a blues snob. I was one of these awful suburban kids, like I only listened to B.B. King and Otis Rush, that's it,
Right.
And I was obnoxious. And then I kind of got past that, and I heard about jazz, and I started to like jazz. So I had those roots in the, late 60s popular music, really, and guitar music. And that never left me. But then after that, trying to learn bebop has been the rest of my life,
Right.
And so the 3 things we talked about, Government Mule, which is like blues rock music, and then Hudson, which is a bunch of jazz guys that were playing some old rock tunes but jazzing them up.
Right.
And then Country for Old Men is us jazz musicians playing country tunes and turning them into jazz. All those are really basic, just taking the stuff from my youth and making jazz out of it, you know. Right. So it's not as diverse to me as it might sound to other people.
Right.
know?
Yeah. The final products, when you listen to them as a listener,
they probably sound different. But if you just listen to what I'm playing, I'm kind of playing the same stuff.
So you're not modifying your like soloing approach or any of those kind of things?
Well, yeah. You always, I think you yeah, sure. If you're playing a jazz tune on Green Dolphin Street, you're playing that music, and if you're playing a blues shuffle, you play that music.
Right.
I'll use elements from blues and rock guitar in jazz, in straight ahead jazz, and vice versa.
Right.
Where to me it works tastefully, you know. Hopefully I'm right.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
You know, but I mean the whole thing is you can only, you know, I mean, you know, the whole thing now of being like a jazz purist, you're really talking about some ancient music, you know. So, I mean, I'm always surprised when I meet young kids that play archtops and with Wes Montgomery style music. I'm thinking they can't have started with that. You know, didn't they start with playing rock and roll easy chords, you know?
Right.
You know, so I don't know. But anyway,
yeah. Yeah, well, one of the defining characteristics of your career has been that you're always looking for the next thing and incorporating the latest.
Well, you know, you got to try to keep it fresh because... and that's been a challenge for me, and I know it is for everybody.
Sure.
You know, because you can feel it when something gets old. You know, it's like this. Oh, I'm not excited by this anymore. Even though you're doing it, you can play it, and that people might want to hear it and all. Then you got to try and find something that is it. That's why it's always a work in process. Music, right? You know.
Right. Yeah, it should be.
It really should be in order to get it right. You know, when I hear about all the jazz guys, the old guys that would only do one take of a tune, you know, I understand that, 1 or 2 takes, because then you might learn it better, but it loses the freshness. I heard Bob Dylan was like that too, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Ibanez is sponsoring your visit out here to us, and of course you've been a long time Ibanez guy. Tell us a little bit about that story and how you got into the Ibanez instruments.
Back in this is the early '80s, or I guess '82 or '81 even maybe. I went to Japan with Terumasa Hino, a really great jazz trumpet player from Japan, brought me there to go on tour with his group, and I met the people from Ibanez, and I had a Gibson 335 that I really liked, and in those days I didn't know how to do neck adjustments. I didn't know how to do truss rod adjustments.
Right.
You know, so I'm over there and the neck is warped, and I said, oh, you know, I got to play, but it feels really weird. I don't know how to do this adjustment. It was Japan. I didn't know anybody there.
Right.
And that day, the Ibanez company came and said, well, try this guitar. And they gave me their AS200 guitar to try, which was like a Gibson 335, but a little different. And I loved it. And I just started playing it. And it had my particular Gibson, it had some dead spots, and this didn't. And it had a really nice character, and I've been playing it ever since.
Right. That's awesome. Of course, signature model has been
the signature model is based on the old Ibanez from the early '80s, with a few little changes that we tweaked, and it's a really good guitar, I gotta say. And both the JSM 100 and the JSM 10 now, I think they're really good if you want to get a semi-acoustic electric guitar. It's a very versatile instrument.
Right. Well, obviously it's worked for you for a lot of years. That's
it worked for me.
Outstanding endorsement.
Oh yeah.
So there you go. Right on. So when I have an artist that is at the level that you're at, I always like to ask the same question to wrap up an interview. You've worked with so many great artists, everybody from Miles Davis to Government Mule, and a tremendous spectrum in between. What is it that makes a great artist?
Damn, hell if I know. But there's something going on when you meet somebody, you know, and they can take it to a special place with the music, you know. And when there's a few great people that around when when they start to play, and then everything kind of changes. Yeah, it's almost magic, you know, and I've been lucky to be in the room when that happens a few times with some of the greats.
Right, absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
John, it's such a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, no, great to be here.
So glad you're going to be giving the workshop on Groove. Looking forward to learning a lot out there.
Yeah.
And enjoying the whole GearFest experience with you. Thanks
Excellent.
so much.
Yeah, good to be here.
You bet. Thank you. And thank you for joining me here at GearFest 2018. I'm Mitch Gallagher.